Welcome to the Poachers Pickleball Podcast. Spencer, welcome. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Off week last week, but it's because you were traveling
I was
to
traveling
a
to
pickleball
pickleball.
event.
Exactly. So I've got all the opinions about the location, Las Vegas, all that fun stuff. We'll get to that in a second. But we got some good stuff to talk about. I guess what we're gonna do, just to give you guys a heads up, we're gonna talk about the results of the Las Vegas Cup, and then get into my opinions of the venue itself, because I think that's relevant, and I think it was maybe interesting for people that haven't traveled to see pickleball. And I've seen it at a few different venues now. So anyway, and then we'll talk a couple of news items and a few previews for next week. Actually, this week coming up on Halloween. So it is a big pickleball week coming up here. But let's recap last week. There was in Las Vegas. It was a cup, which means every day they play every single uh, event. So men's singles, women's singles, mixed, and gender doubles every day. Round of 64 on Tuesday. Yeah, down to 32 on Wednesday, and so forth till you get to the finals on Saturday. And I went from Wednesday to Saturday. Ended up driving home on Sunday and watched a lot of it on my phone on the way home. So let's get to kind of what happened there. The Probably the only thing that really matters that anyone should care to rewatch, I guess, would be the finals match between Ben Johns, Gabe Tardio, and Christian Alshon and Andre Diascu. That was an epic match, 2.5 hours. They In the finals they played best of five, so you got to win three games, and I think Johns and Tardio won game one and game three, and then obviously Alshon won game two and game four. And game five, spoiler alert here, I guess, but Diascu and Alshon actually had a match point. So they were up like, I think it was 11-9, or sorry, 10-9, it would be. And they needed 1 point, and they had a hands battle. Basically an inch away from, a mistake by Johns and Tardio, and they are champions. But no, they lose the game match point, and then Tardio and Johns go on to get enough points to turn it around and get the match. So it was a pretty epic match, fun to watch.
Two
Um,
and a half hours. Is that like the pickleball equivalent of last night's World Series game or what?
kind of, kind of at least, but at least have an idea of when it's going to end. Unlike last night,
That's
which
true.
I think I stayed up till like one. You were watching it kind of in fast motion, catching up, right?
Yeah, still till 2 a.m., like
Yeah,
from 9 to 2, and I still would have had 2 more hours left if I
yeah.
would have watched it live. So
Exactly. At some point,
crazy.
I was like, I don't know if I care that much. This is game three. Like, if this is game seven, maybe,
Yeah, it's
but
not my teams. So
yeah. I like baseball in the playoffs, but other than that, it's a little bit too long of a season for me. So, anyway, we're off topic here. But yes, it was quite long, but an epic match and well worth watching. Just the highest level of pickleball you can see. And it seems like I think Alshon and Diascu are 1-6 against Johns and Tardio. So Tardio and Johns have won their sixth in a row. Pretty near unstoppable, but getting very close. So that's kind of the scoop as far as what to watch. The best match for sure. I would recommend popping on Pickleball TV and checking that out. Anna Leigh Waters gets her 37th Triple Crown. Last time we talked about her 36th. So I don't even know what to talk about anymore. She just wins all the time. It's crazy. Although I will say in women's doubles, that's the one place where her and Anna Bright had been struggling a little bit, but have been beaten kind of in the semifinals and the quarterfinals, etc. But now they seem they've figured out whatever's going on. Stack Strud wins the men's singles. He was the number one player last year in singles, men's singles, and had been kind of losing quite a bit to lower seeds, surprisingly, and kind of made a few complaints like, singles is mini tennis at this point, and the basically the paddles are too powerful, the ball's too hard, like it's just not quite as exciting. I don't
hmm.
know if the switch to the lifetime ball has helped him, but he did come back and win in an epic match in the finals. And he's always kind of fun to watch in that. Not sure what else to say other than it's kind of interesting to see him come back because people are wondering, had he lost a step, or is it just that the men's field is so good in singles that anybody can win? I mean, Chris Hayworth won two in a row. I mean, it's just crazy. So next thing is Jeannie Bouchard ended up playing against Anna Lee. This is her second silver medal. She had an epic match against Kate Fahey, who's the number two woman singles player. And she, if you don't know her, she is kind of more famous for tennis than pickleball. She just recently officially retired from tennis a few months ago or a month ago, I guess. And so she's looking like she's going to be a threat to Anna Lee in women's singles at least for now. What do you think about? I mean, I'm taking you're probably not a huge tennis guy, but what do you think about all these players kind of coming from tennis and trying to take over pickleball? Some have had success, but maybe not as much success as people thought they should have. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I actually recently went to my first, what is it? A meet? I don't know what they call it for tennis tournament, maybe.
Tournament,
I
tournament
actually
sounds
went
good.
to my first tournament. They had the WAC, the Western Athletic Conference, had a fall tennis tournament at Utah Tech. So I hopped over there for like a day and saw tennis for the first time. But it is interesting. I don't know why all of these people like leave tennis to go to pickleball, but that's up to them. But um
So yeah, I know
I honestly couldn't tell you why. I
I
think
don't
it's
know.
interesting that there is quite a bit of players that end up doing the switch.
Yeah, I know Jack Sock, who won like a Wimbledon doubles gold medal or whatever championship. He's won in the Olympics as well, a gold medal in the Olympics. I think he's more famous for doubles, but he said he wants to spend more time with his family, not as much travel. I don't know if it's just the rigors of the tennis tour, or
That
age.
makes sense.
But I mean, I know obviously with singles it's a lot harder on the body, but doubles it's not pickleball's not nearly as hard as singles tennis, I'm guessing. So I don't know either, but it's kind of funny. A lot of people think that tennis players can just come over and just dominate, and so far they haven't dominated necessarily. They've there's been a lot of college players like Anna Bright, for example, Kate Fahey, who kind of were collegiate tennis players, and I don't think they did a ton in the pros, but kind of it took I think it just takes longer to adapt for pro pickleball than they think, is I guess my take. So,
That makes sense.
all right, now we're going to talk about old people and young people. Matt Wright, who is almost my age, which is embarrassing, he got to the bronze medal match. So basically, he lost to I think it was Diascu and Alshon in the semifinals, and ended up playing for a bronze medal. But he's an attorney. He's quite the watch. He's always yapping. It's kind of if you get a chance to go watch one of his matches in person, you'll hear a lot more than you hear on the microphones. And he's always just making comments, and he's fun to watch. But his antics might be a little annoying if you're whatever. But it's cool that an old guy, he gives hope to old guys all around. Spencer, you're not as old as me, but
Is it
when
like
you get there,
does he yap kind of like a parent his age would if it was his kids playing in sports?
it's more like just sarcastic stuff. Like if the ball's out, he's like, "Nope,
Okay.
way out. Sorry, way out." And then like if somebody says something back to him and he gets a chance, he'll like turn it around on that. He's just more like sarcastic, and I guess it depends on how you take it. Like some people might be annoyed by it, but some people might think it's kind of funny. So it just depends on if you're a fan. Or I would say this: he's kind of one of those guys where now I know pickleball's not really a team sport, but if he's one of those guys that if he's on your team, you probably like him, and if you don't, if he's on your team, you don't like him. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like a
Sounds like
Draymond.
he's just having a good time to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a Draymond Green, but that's probably way too bad of a. That's not a good comparison.
Nobody
So
likes that
because he's
guy.
because he's always not like that. He's just more funny. One of the things that is interesting about him, because maybe it's because he's an attorney, he knows the rules really well. Like there's been times where they've stopped play, brought like the head referee over. It took like 30 minutes to figure out this one call.
Oh, geez.
So it can be a bit much, but the point is he's old and still doing well, which is a surprise.
No,
Then
it's nice.
on the other side of the coin, you have people like Luke Pham and Will McKinnon. So Luke is 21, Will is 17. They actually ended up playing, I think, in the quarterfinals, which is pretty good. I think they had to qualify, so they did really well. And obviously, the sport's getting younger. What was really cool was Andre Mercado. He won both in mixed and men's doubles. he in the main draws. But what's crazy is that he's 16, and then he was playing with a guy who's 14, Tama Shimabukuro from Hawaii. And this kid's 14. It's crazy like how good he is for being a 14 years old. And I get that in tennis there are a lot of young players, so maybe that's not abnormal, except for the stigma that pickleball is an old person sport. Um, so anyway, he
Yep.
he keep your eyes peeled because he's really fun to watch. I think they really have only played pickleball. I don't think they played other sports. Like they didn't come from tennis or racquetball or a racket sport. So definitely fun to keep your eyes peeled on some of the young players that are up and coming. And if the Las Vegas tournament was any indication, um, I don't know if people know this, but obviously at the PPA tournaments, you can just sign up and play, like no matter what your level is. And it was crazy on Friday and Saturday, with how many people were there just to play in like the amateur tournament. So um, a lot of
You
fun if
ever
you
thought about
actually.
doing that?
I probably want to compete locally first.
I
I
got
don't.
you.
I honestly don't even know my skill level. I haven't. I don't have a due per rating. I'm probably like a 3.5, if I had to guess. So I do want to play, but I just had knee surgery a little while ago, so it's one of those things that's on my list to do. But I'm definitely not going to be the Matt Wright of of pro pickleball. That's for sure. That has passed me by. I'll also be the Matt Wright of podcasting. So there
There
you
you go.
go. All right. So let's talk about the actual facility and kind of I, I don't even know what to say. So this is a tennis center. The main area, and you were gonna ask me. You saw one of my videos. What did you think? You had some questions about one of the videos I
Yeah,
sent out.
so I saw one of the videos or like the angle it was from, and I was just like, this looks like kind of funky. I don't know what it was. It was like the background or like the way the grandstand was set up, where there was like a bunch of empty seats in sections, but then there was like it looked like advertising
Yeah, there's
maybe
banners. You know how like I don't know
over
if you've
another
ever.
section.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know if you've ever been to like a venue where a concert, like I like at concerts at the Delta Center for those people in Salt Lake. If they don't sell the upper stands, they'll put banners up there to make it look like
yeah.
oh, we didn't mean to sell these. We weren't selling these seats. They're taken out by banners. Like this is we're a full house.
It's the Tampa
So
Bay Rays.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So
Tarp the upper deck off.
that's part of it, but let me explain so this is the center court. This is the main court. This is a tennis court that they've had to make smaller for a pickleball court. And the pickleball court is basically repainted and it's in the very middle of the arena. And it's funny they actually have these little flower pots that go over the posts for where the tennis net would be. So the refs have
That
to
is
either
weird.
stand behind or in front of these flower pots. Cammy's like, my wife was with me and she's like, why are there flower pots in the middle? And she's like, oh, because they got to cover up the posts that are in permanently in the ground. And so
Huh.
it was
That
funny.
is a little
Like
weird.
the refs were standing either. It was always weird. Like one was standing in front of the flower pot, one was standing behind. It was kind of strange. Anyway, so part of it is that you're shrunken down to the middle, and I think where those banners were, which were on the corners, they actually probably weren't great viewing angles. First of
Sight
all,
lines.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the sight lines I think were bad because they do have kind of like a little fence around the thing, so the ball doesn't just go forever. Because the court's actually too big, honestly, for pickleball, or at least the area. And then it's also maybe I'm over explaining this, but it's also kind of like, have you ever been to a stadium that has the track as well as the football field? That's kind
Huh.
of what it looks like. It's kind of
Utah
oval
Tech.
shape. Yeah, it's kind of oval shape, and you're
Yeah.
kind of like further away than you want to be from the action. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I didn't like that either. But it was nice to have an arena that's actually specifically built. A lot of venues you'll go to, you've been in the one in St. George, and we'll talk about the new venue in a minute. That's like basically temporary stands that are built up. This is actually, at least a permanent arena that's, in concrete and has benches and seats and stuff. So the only problem was that you're outdoors, which my wife loved. She was all excited that it was outdoors because she's only been to indoor stuff, and she's like, "Why are we in it? We're like in the Salt Lake Convention Center, like you know what I mean? Like
Well, and Vegas in
the
October
press."
too is
Yeah,
Vegas in October is great. So
yeah, it was nice. The one issue is the way that the side they were filming on. It looks more empty than it is because they're filming the sunny side. So nobody really wanted to be getting burned all day in the sun on the other side. So it definitely wasn't full, but that side did look worse. So, and it's funny because I've been to some venues where sorry, the Salt Lake venue specifically, they had the two stands on both sides of the court, and they wouldn't let anyone sit on the one side of the court that was opposite of the TV because they wanted it to look more full than it was for TV because it was like on ESPN2 or something at the time. So it's kind of annoying because you're like, dude, I want to sit in a better seat rather than being crammed on this other side just so you look good for TV. So anyway, a little secret
Interesting.
there, a little insider info is that sometimes it's not quite as full as it looks. But anyway,
It's
so
weird though, because I was thinking about maybe going, but we had just had a lot going on down here in St. George. But I looked and it looked like all the tickets were like sold out for the most part. Like I looked for
which is
Thursday and
not
Friday
which
and there was
isn't
like no tickets listed.
it doesn't it wasn't true. It's
Huh.
I don't know.
Weird.
It's a weird thing. You can buy a grounds pass. So, and obviously that's fine because you're going to different, if you want to see people that aren't playing on the center court during the days where there's a bunch of matches going on, it's fine because you can go walk to, court number 17 and watch your favorite player or whatever. But on like, as you get towards, because it's a cup, as you get towards like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or sorry, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's fewer courts even in play because there's only a few matches going on at a time because they're down to the round of 16, the round of 8, round of semifinals, etc. So you have less places to go, and then I don't know what their deal was because I looked at those same seats because I ended up buying seats on the side that didn't have the sun, and I got the sense that not a lot of people actually. I don't know. It was really weird. That whole seating situation was weird because they actually only put up temporary seats sometimes, and those were seats that you could, in theory, buy in the past. It was really weird.
Huh.
Anyway,
Interesting.
I don't know what was going on with that because at one point they're like, you need to have seats for center court, and then it looked like everyone that just had ground passes were just cramming in wherever they wanted. So we actually had seats and had to kick people out of our seats, which is always embarrassing. You're like, oh, sorry, dude, you're in my seat because because only a few people bought seats. It's really weird. Anyway, all right, enough of that.
Huh.
Let's get to the real problem. Okay, here is the real problem. Hopefully, I can describe this. If you follow the podcast on Twitter, you'll see a couple pictures of this. They have two main courts, right? You got center court, which we just talked about. And then you got the grandstand court, which is kind of like where the second best matches are going to be played. That's the other place that has commentators, has more cameras, etc. Right? Well, the problem is they've got the grandstand on a side court that is covered up by a bunch of hedges and trees. So you can only like there's not even no chairs to even sit in. You have to go stand up like against by this fence or up by the tree. You can only see like half the court because of the hedges and the tree, and there's no seating. And this is supposedly like the second premier level. Like this is the people you want to see in theory, which is annoying. And what's even worse is the next court down actually has some stands to sit in, like kind of the temporary stands, right? But there's at least some stands for some benches for people to sit on, and you could actually sit there and watch it and actually have a clear view. But they didn't put the grandstand there. They put it off on the side court, and it made no sense at all. And it was actually really, honestly, really annoying for people that wanted to see specific matches. And especially on like Friday and Saturday, there's no other courts going on except the grandstand and the center court. And the few people at the grandstand are kind of crowded around, standing around, and it was just it was a bad look and really poor planning. I have no idea why they couldn't have just moved. They literally, me and a buddy could have probably just picked up the stands and moved them over because it was like 5 rows. You've seen these, right? Like a little, like your local like your kids' soccer, stands. There's like 5 rows.
That's what it was at the tennis tournament I went to. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like 5 rows. You and I could have just picked it up and moved it over, and yet they're sitting there completely empty, and there's nothing going on those courts. It made no sense at all. So I was pretty disappointed in that. I don't know what they were doing there. So there's my little rant about.
Oh, I'm looking at the pictures now. It took me a
Yeah,
second to find them.
yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Isn't that stupid? That's literally
That
like
doesn't.
the picture that I took of the side view on there for
Yeah.
again. That's literally me turning to the left to look and seeing those right next to it. It's so dumb. Anyway, really,
Weird.
really, really bad. Like just
Some
put
venue issues, I guess,
yeah,
for this
just
one, huh?
put the grandstand court where there's grandstands, or put the grandstands where you put the court. Like it was just Really dumb. And the other thing is you couldn't even go to the other side. So the hedge that is blocking your view is stops on the other side, but only family and other and like commentators are allowed on that other side. So you couldn't even
Oh,
go to the other side. So you're stuck on like basically like a half of the court. You can't get behind them. It's really like a quarter of the viewing space that should be available, and you're standing there, which is just so bad. Anyway,
interesting.
that was rough and very poor on their part, especially for a place that actually is a pretty nice venue and should be way better. So, all right, enough of that. That was my rant about the disaster of the grandstand. Couple other things. Give us a scoop on why I could not bet on this week on Kalshi. I was all excited to bet because I was going to be there in person, and I couldn't. Tell us why, Spencer.
Yeah, let me double check that one. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Okay, so the switch from Kalshi to Polymarket. So PPA and MLP have announced a multi-year partnership with Polymarket. So they'll become the exclusive prediction market provider for these pro pickleball leagues under the UPA. So guess you can't do it on Kalshi anymore.
Yeah, so I went to look on Kalshi.
You're like,
Um,
what? What's going on?
and I'm like, keep looking at PPA, and it's like PPA Cincinnati, PPA Cincinnati. I'm like, I already bet on these. This is stupid. What's going on here? And I didn't know what was going on. Finally, like Friday, they announced this or they put out a press release and said we're on Polymarket now. So for those that don't know, Polymarket's I think more known for like the political predictions, but this basically a
Yeah.
way to bet. The same thing as Kalshi, basically, just a competitor. But now I got a bunch of money on Kalshi that I'm gonna have to cash out and get on Polymarket. I actually went to go sign up for Polymarket. I downloaded the app. I went to sign up. And they're like, "Oh, we'll email you when we're ready to give you an invite." I'm like, "Okay,
Invite?
seriously? Like
What is that
I'm
even
ready.
supposed to
I'm
mean?
ready to spend tiny amounts of money. You know what I mean? I'm ready to bet on your dumb app, and I can't because I'm not
You,
invited yet. So
you need an invite?
it's
Really?
yeah. So I said, well,
Crazy.
what's your email? We'll let you know when we're ready. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know this is such an exclusive club. I guess
That's terrible.
they don't allow $50 bettors to come onto
That's
their thing.
crazy. That doesn't
We'll
make any
see. I
sense.
will keep you updated because I definitely want to see what it's like. But yeah, now I got a bunch of money on Kalshi that I'm either going to have to lose on football or just cash out. I don't know what I'm going to do. So
Yeah,
that's
there you go. Football, right?
that's just that. Well, betting on football might be the dumbest thing I've ever done because I just constantly lose. So anyway, um, the message here is don't bet because you're just going to lose money, right? As we know from last podcast. All right.
Pretty
We
much.
also have some other news, and this is for Spencer, who is a local, and I am close. This is actually really exciting. So tell us a little bit, Spencer, about what's going on in St. George coming up.
Yeah, this is awesome. I sent you this article the other day that was in the Salt Lake Tribune. So usually PPA makes a stop through St. George the last handful of years, and they play at the Little Valley Pickleball Complex. We both went last year. It's not a bad venue, but it is just temporary bleachers and
Hmm.
that type of setup.
Yep.
So going forward, uh, in March of 2026, we are going to have what they are dubbing the Wimbledon of Pickleball at Black Desert Resort, which is where they will play this from now on. And this is also where they play the PGA and LPGA tour events. Is this resort just outside of St. George in Ivins? It's going to be a cup next year, but this court looks so cool. There's a championship court with 1,000-seat grandstand that are permanent. So this is built specifically for pickleball as
Which
a
is
pickleball
awesome.
venue.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool. So permanent seats and 21 other courts. And this is the part, and we've talked a little bit about this with like the technology and, you know,
Hmm.
calling the
This
ball in and out and stuff. Well, apparently, Patrick Manning, the Black Desert managing partner, said this is going to be super high tech. We can track ball movement. We can track how your body's responding to your swing during tournaments. This is awesome. The lines will have lasers so that it can be accurate on whether the ball is in or out. So they're saying it's going to be probably the most high tech pickleball facility in the country.
so Dennis Uspensky can't come and call balls out. He'll even on the side courts, he's going to get the laser technology there to stop him from cheating. So
Yeah, so I think that's so cool. Like it looks really cool. And we talked a little bit about how it's kind of an old person sport. Pickleball experts claim that St. George is where pickleball first took root in Utah, at least after it was introduced at the World Senior Games back in 2003. So
Yeah, Utah's a surprisingly big pickleball state. I mean, I know there's obviously lots of, like Austin is big and Florida's big and California, Arizona actually too, but um and obviously it was born in Washington, but uh it's huge, especially in St. George and here in the Salt Lake area. But is this do we know if this is a real picture? I'm looking at the picture here. Are these courts this color? I don't know if I like this color. They're like a golden yellow. Is this real? Do you know, or is this like a mock-up?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming it's just a mock-up, and I don't know if that'll be the actual color, but I
I,
don't hate it.
here
It looks very desert
it does. It's
kind of
very.
color.
I will say it's probably good for like lack of heat. Like it's not going to reflect a lot of heat because they're a light color. But man, that's it's quite yellow. It's very golden yellow.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
I'm
kind of
used to
like
like a blue.
orangish,
Yeah,
yellow,
yeah.
sand color.
There
Yeah.
you go. Maybe it'll need to grow on me. But yeah, I don't know if this is like I said. This maybe looks like a mock-up. I can't quite tell. Um,
Yeah, I think
I'm
it's
gonna.
just like a architectural type
Yeah,
rendering
yeah.
thing for,
And all the
you know,
people are so small
city
you
planning
can't
or whatever.
tell. Yeah, you can't tell if they're real or not. So
I think it looks awesome, and I'm super excited
no, it
because,
does. The grandstand looks amazing. Yeah, it's going to be really cool. I'm actually really excited to head down there next year. It's in March, right? You said.
yep, it's
So
in March.
yeah.
So,
So if anybody's close by, come to the thing, and we'll if anybody reaches out to us, we'll definitely have a little party or something for all millions and millions of listeners that listen to this. All right. All right, thanks for that. All right, so what's coming up next is pickleball all week long, starting on Friday. It's basically like all the pickleball you can handle. Tell us about the return of MLP.
yeah, so it's this new MLP Cup. I think we mentioned it on a previous podcast a little bit, but this, I guess, Halloween, so starting Friday, um, Brookhaven Country Club in Farmers Branch, Texas, which I think is just the Dallas area,
Yes.
will host the MLP Cup, which will technically be the opener to the Pickleball World Championships. And it will have premier level and challenger level teams for 3 days. And pool play leads into single elimination bracket as like a nod to the original format of Major League Pickleball. So, first ever MLP Cup.
Yeah, so this is kind of you're a soccer guy, so this is what do you think about these cups and these like kind of inter I guess this isn't the middle, this is the beginning of the MLP year technically. What do you think about these cups? Are they cool? Are they what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So for soccer, they've been around for so long that it's just like a normal thing, right? The League Cup or whatever in England and the FA Cup, it's just how it is. Other sports, I'm not sure. Like I hate the NBA Cup. That thing
Yeah.
is stupid. Like the WNBA has the Commissioner's Cup. Like just why? What's the point of that? Please MLB do not add a cup. Please don't. So I don't know if I like the Cubs very much outside of soccer, but it could just be because, they've been in soccer for so long and now all these other sports are trying to kind of copy the
Yeah.
model, I guess you could say. But
Yeah.
for pickleball, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I don't think it's as bad as like having an NBA Cup. So,
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the soccer ones have a little history to them, so maybe I feel like if you win one of those, and maybe it's because they're different, like there's different levels of soccer competing, right? Like a small team in England, I think, can win the Carabao Cup, whatever it's called. I don't even
yeah,
know.
the Carabao Cup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. So like that's kind of cool. Like a small team could win, like beat a premier level team. Here, I guess in theory, like a challenger team could beat a premier team. I guess that's cool. I'm all for more pickleball. I just don't know that it's that big a deal. There is a mid-season tournament for MLP that people think is a big deal, um, but I don't know that it is that cool. Other than the fact that I do like the MLP because the best players don't always get to play with their best, their buddies and their partners. So you get to see a little bit more competitiveness, in my opinion. So anyway,
What's
I
the
mean,
one that they
obviously,
do mid What's the one they do mid-season?
it's the one. It's in is it Wisconsin? Oh shoot, the mid MLP mid-season tournament, I think is what it's called.
Oh man, so they are getting a little too NBA for
Well,
my taste, aren't they?
that's been around for a long time. So the Grand
Oh,
Rapids, there you
okay.
go.
Well,
Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids, nice.
Yeah, yeah. So it's I think that's actually kind of cool because it's been around for a while. Like and again, it's a mid-season tournament. So what's weird about it? Okay, here's the weird thing about it. The winners, like I think first and second place, can get points. for the towards MLP, but nobody else does, and the wins and losses don't
Oh,
count against their record. So kind of weird in that sense. I don't know what happens on the cup. Obviously, this is the beginning. The season is over for MLP, so this is probably doesn't count towards their records anyway either. But I don't know. It's kind of fun, kind of fun. I do like the MLP. I just don't know that to me, winning the MLP championship is a big deal. Winning a cup, not as cool, right? Winning the
exactly.
midseason tournament, not as cool. Like
Look,
Annalie Waters, she has never won an MLP championship, but she's always quick to say she won a midseason tournament. I'm like, who cares?
it's
Like,
not even. That's like
right?
LeBron. That's like LeBron saying he won the NBA Cup and the Lakers hung a banner. Like, come on,
Exactly,
that's
exactly.
so bad.
So I
I like
agree.
that.
That's why I'm not trying like again, I don't compete at that level, but and I guess if I was in a tournament, I'd be happy to win it. But like it's just not that cool to me because it's not the actual full season
Yeah,
championship. You know what I
maybe
mean?
they're. Yeah,
So
maybe they're. And soccer does this sometimes too, and just maybe a little bit of like oversaturation with the extra little side tournaments.
yeah, yeah. And again, there's only four teams in Challenger, so it's not even like, the Carabao Cup or whatever you said, because it's like there's only four teams that are going to be up against the what 30 or something other teams or 20 other teams of premier teams. Like there's
Yeah,
no it's just not like there's not going to be a huge underdog story. No offense to the Challenger level teams, but there's no way they're going to beat the premier teams. They're just not going to. And there's only four of them, so there's even smaller of a chance. So, all right.
yeah.
I'll don't worry, I'll still be watching, especially if they're going to be playing in costumes on Halloween. I think that's the plan. So that'll be
I
interesting
saw that.
to
Yeah,
see if you're going to play in
we'll see.
costume. What would you dress up as if you had to play pickleball and you're going to dress up as what would you do?
Yeah, while you're playing
Yeah,
pickleball, that's tough. Like I don't know, Big Bird or something. Like
it's a big old mascot costume. I don't know.
yeah, that
I
one would be fun.
Yeah, I had a I my wife for some reason had a Mr. Potato. You know those costumes that blow up that have like the fan on the inside.
Yeah,
There's a Mr. Potato Head one, and it didn't fit me at all, and so I looked like a potato. Anyway, I was wearing that for one Halloween. That would be pretty funny to wear, just this giant potato with a paddle trying to play. So,
nice.
which is probably what I look like anyway. All right. Um, and then after that, we'll talk about this next week more in depth. But the PPA Worlds is coming up November 4th through the 9th. So we'll hit that next time, but and do a recap of the MLP Cup and let you know what we think. Again, it sounds like we're pretty lukewarm on the Cup itself, but excited to actually just watch some pickleball. And I definitely like the MLP. And now that they're kind of separating seasons, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. So this is kind of just a taste of things to come. All right, Spencer. Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate all our listeners. Like, subscribe, share the podcast. Tell all your buddies that play pickleball but don't watch pro. That they want to get the inside scoop on what it's like to watch the pros and get my takes on random venues that we go to and all the other crazy stuff we talk about. Thanks to Deja Vega for letting us use their music. We'll catch you next time on the Poachers Pickleball Podcast.